I know this may come off as pedestrian for a young queer person, but I had a crush on my local barista. They invited me to see them perform and then to a party afterwards. I went with this penthouse apartment. We all went to the roof and sat on a questionable mattress. Any attempt to engage in real conversation was quickly deflected. These folks could only talk about what was in front of them, the pot, the beer, the weird mattress we were sitting on. I looked at this person that I was pining after, and in a moment, any sense of desire or interest melted away. I stuck around because my Midwestern sentiment always tells me to stay where there's free beer and an opportunity to look at the stars. I got home and laid in my bed, trading stars for the ceiling. I was devastated. I just felt this sense of emptiness, and I imagined that this is the feeling that those folks feel every night. Is this how the rest of the world is? Has growing up kid of immigrants, going to art school, working in social justice, being queer, being fat, being a woman, not prepared me for this world of nothing? I thought I was so prepared. How is it possible to not engage with parts of yourself, to just walk on by, be in the crowd, but not part of it? Even when I sit quietly in a room with friends, while we may not speak to it, the air is filled with overlapping identities, collective trauma, and hope that things are getting better for us. Is this how the world welcomes you with open arms when you don't bother to challenge it? Its soft caress only afforded to those rejecting their own desires and thoughts. I've always had a bone to pick. My parents often tell a story about how I didn't talk until a little bit later in my baby life. And then one day, sitting on the porch with my dad, I began saying my first words and talked for a straight hour. The joke has always been that I wanted to have a real vocabulary before I started talking, but I think that my small body had already absorbed so many moments of women being silenced that I wanted to take this opportunity and really go for it in case it was the only time I would get to talk freely in my whole life. It's more natural for us to tell people to stop than to just sit and listen to them and give them space to talk. I've always wondered, why don't we want our family and friends to be free? In her essay, Uses of the Erotic, Audre Lorde says, "The erotic is a measure between the beginnings of our sense of self and the chaos of our strongest feeling." She continues on to say that those who exist in this space are considered dangerous by our culture. If there's something that I can tell you, it's that I'm dangerous. Constantly swirling in the welcome chaos, I don't think I can ever exist outside of it. There are so many things that I think about on a daily basis. Walking through the world in this body, hearing snickering and sneers from 2 to 25 years, liberating myself from convention and carving a big and loud place for myself, living through this heart, queer and twisted, with desires uncharted and unnamed, filled with possibility. This body, woman, or something like it, taught me that you can make a space for yourself. I don't know how to move through the world in any other way. I don't know how to talk about this in any other way. I've worked so hard to unclench my mouth. I've always been loud, but I now know that everything I say is worth talking about. I don't know how to walk through the world and not hear and see everything. I don't have that luxury, though it sounds more like a curse. I never want to get used to anything that hurts me. Why do we tell people that? To get used to it rather than grabbing their hands and telling them, I'll break down the fucking door for you. I never want you to stop crying. You could cry forever and I would still love you. Sometimes I feel like I'm the personification of hurt, like I don't know how to not be lonely, but then I realize the grace of this open heart and how much it cares for you and how much it cares for me. My loneliness never put me in a dark room, but rather blinded me with light. Sometimes I wish that I could not think about all these things. I wish I didn't have to be so scared and angry all the time. But it all just seems so pedestrian, and I just don't know how to be that way.